The mood around Ibrox feels completely different right now, and you can sense it in the way this Rangers side is carrying itself on the pitch. 4 consecutive victories have dragged the team firmly back into the title discussion, and it no longer feels like a distant dream or a hopeful calculation. There is substance behind it. The recent win over Aberdeen summed it all up perfectly, not because it was dramatic or chaotic, but because it was controlled, professional, and above all, routine. Rangers did what strong teams do. They went out, imposed themselves early, took their chances, and then managed the game with a calmness that has been missing at various points this season. That 2-goal victory never really felt in doubt. By the time the match reached the final half hour, it looked less like a contest and more like a training exercise. Aberdeen simply could not live with the tempo, the structure, or the physical presence Rangers brought to the game. That sense of control is perhaps the clearest sign of progress under the current coaching setup. The team no longer looks frantic or reactive. There is a plan, there is discipline, and there is a growing belief that this group understands exactly what is being asked of them. One of the biggest differences in recent weeks has come from dead ball situations. It might not be glamorous, and some fans will argue that football is becoming too focused on marginal gains and specialist roles, but the impact has been undeniable. The arrival of a dedicated set-piece coach has transformed one of Rangers' long-standing weaknesses into a genuine weapon. 2 goals from set plays against Aberdeen were no coincidence. The movement was sharper, the delivery was more varied, and defenders attacked the ball with real conviction. These are rehearsed routines paying off in real time. Manny Fernandez deserves special mention here, not just for his defensive work, but for his growing reputation as a goal threat. 5 goals since arriving is an extraordinary return for a central defender, and it speaks volumes about timing, bravery, and confidence. When defenders start contributing regularly, it changes the entire dynamic of a team. Opponents are forced to defend deeper, midfielders find more space, and suddenly Rangers look dangerous from angles that previously posed no threat at all. Another noticeable shift has been in the responsibility for delivering those set pieces. Connor Barron stepping up has added a new layer of unpredictability. The quality of his corners against Aberdeen was outstanding, consistently finding dangerous areas and forcing the opposition into panic mode. It was refreshing to see variation, and even more refreshing to see it lead directly to goals. Barron's influence on games has been growing steadily, and his confidence with the ball reflects a player who feels trusted and valued. From a league perspective, that victory carried real weight. Sitting in second place, 3 points off the top, with an extra match played, is far from perfect, but it is a position that keeps everything alive. Being 3 points clear of Celtic at this stage, regardless of games in hand, changes the psychological landscape. It puts pressure elsewhere and allows Rangers to focus on their own momentum rather than constantly chasing from behind. There is still a long road ahead, but the margin for error suddenly feels smaller for everyone involved. A lot of this resurgence can be traced back to the influence of the head coach. He has been quick to deflect praise, insisting that progress is the result of collective effort rather than individual brilliance. That message matters. It creates unity and reinforces the idea that improvement comes from shared responsibility. The players, the staff, behind the scenes, and the wider club structure are all pulling in the same direction, and that alignment has been missing in the past. What stands out most is the coach's adaptability. Rangers no longer look wedded to a single system or approach. Instead, matches are being read and adjusted in real time. If something is not working, changes are made. Shape, personnel, and tempo are all flexible, and that willingness to react has caught opponents off guard. It is a proactive style of management, one that focuses on exploiting weaknesses rather than stubbornly sticking to a pre-match script. There is also a clear sense of ambition driving everything forward. Despite the recent run of wins, there's no suggestion that the job is done. The message coming from the training ground is that this is still a work in progress. The squad is improving, but it is not yet where it needs to be. That honesty is refreshing. It avoids complacency and keeps standards high, especially as the season enters a decisive phase. The January transfer window looms large in all of this. The club understands that momentum alone will not be enough to sustain a title challenge. Reinforcements are needed, not just for depth, but for quality in key areas. The intention is clearly not to rush signings on the final day, but to bring players in early enough to integrate properly. Time on the training pitch matters, particularly for a group that is still learning a new way of playing. The talk of multiple arrivals suggests a broader rebuild rather than a quick fix. There are still concerns around physicality in midfield, consistency in attack, and impact from the bench. Winning matches is one thing, but winning them across a relentless schedule demands options. Rangers have made progress, but the squad remains short in areas that could be exposed as fixtures pile up. Despite those gaps, there is a growing trust in the decision-making coming from the coaching staff. Having someone who works with the players daily, understands their limitations, and recognizes what profiles are missing brings confidence to the recruitment process. The idea is not just to sign players, but to sign the right players, individuals who fit the system, the league, and the demands of wearing the shirt. That trust is earned on the pitch. And recent performances have gone a long way towards building it. Players look clearer in their roles, the structure is more compact, and the team appears mentally stronger. Even when games lack intensity, Rangers find a way to control them rather than being dragged into chaos. That maturity is often the difference between contenders and pretenders, and it is beginning to show in this side. Individual performances are starting to underline that collective growth, and Connor Barron is a perfect example of that evolution. His influence in midfield has quietly become essential, not through flashy moments, but through consistency and intelligence. He covers ground, he recycles possession efficiently, and when given responsibility on set pieces, he delivers with purpose. There is a calm assurance in his game right now that suggests a player growing into leadership without needing to shout about it. In matches where control is required rather than chaos, his presence has been invaluable. Alongside him, Nico Raskin's display against Aberdeen was a reminder of the level he can reach when fully fit and fully focused. The numbers only tell part of the story, but they paint a picture of dominance. He dictated tempo, broke lines with forward passes, and repeatedly won his individual battles. More importantly, he looked like a player enjoying his football again, confident in his decision-making and sharp in his movement. When Raskin and Barron function in harmony, Rangers suddenly look balanced in the middle of the park. Not everyone reached the same level, and that contrast is important to acknowledge. Some players did their jobs without fuss, and others struggled to impose themselves, and a few young faces showed exactly why patience is required. That inconsistency is not unusual, especially in a squad that is still finding its identity. Young players in particular can swing from impressive to frustrating within the space of a single week, and that volatility is part of their development rather than a cause for alarm. Rotation has also played a role in recent performances. Managing workloads, especially during a congested run of fixtures, is crucial, and there are signs that this is being handled sensibly. Fresh legs have brought energy, while regular starters have avoided burnout. That balance will become even more important as domestic and European commitments continue to overlap, placing physical and mental strain on the squad. Attention is now beginning to shift towards potential reinforcements, and one name that has emerged fits neatly into the type of profile Rangers appear to be targeting. A young Danish defensive midfielder currently playing in Sweden has drawn interest, and it is easy to see why. At just 21 years of age, he already has experience at international youth level and exposure to European competition. That combination of youth and experience aligns perfectly with the club's current strategy. What stands out immediately about this midfielder is his positional intelligence. Operating primarily as a number 6, he offers discipline in front of the defense while also contributing to build-up play. He is comfortable receiving the ball under pressure, capable of playing short passes to maintain tempo or switching play with longer distribution when space opens up. In a league that demands physical commitment, his strength in duels and willingness to engage are particularly appealing. There is also versatility in his game. While his primary role is defensive, he has shown the ability to step forward when required, linking play and supporting attacks without abandoning his responsibilities. That flexibility would give Rangers tactical options, allowing adjustments depending on opposition and game state. It is exactly the kind of adaptability the coaching staff values, especially in a system that prioritizes situational awareness over rigid structure. The financial aspect of such a move appears realistic as well. A fee in the region of a couple of £1 million represents a calculated risk rather than a gamble, particularly for a player with resale potential. Rangers have been clear about operating within a sustainable model, and investing in young players who can contribute immediately while retaining future value fits that approach neatly. Beyond numbers and scouting reports, there is a broader point to consider. Bringing in a specialist defensive midfielder could unlock more freedom for players already at the club. It could allow creative midfielders to operate higher up the pitch, reduce the defensive burden on fullbacks, and add protection to a backline that has occasionally been exposed in transition. These knock-on effects are often just as important as the individual qualities of a new signing. The sense of direction at the club is perhaps the most encouraging development of all. There is clarity about what needs to improve, honesty about current limitations, and ambition about where Rangers want to go. That combination has been missing at times in recent seasons, replaced instead by short-term fixes and reactive decision-making. Now there is a feeling of coherence, of a long-term plan gradually taking shape. Momentum, of course, can be fragile. One poor result or a run of injuries can quickly shift the narrative. But the difference now is that Rangers appear better equipped to respond. There is structure behind the scenes, belief on the pitch, and a growing trust between players and staff. Those foundations matter, especially when the pressure begins to rise as the season progresses. What lies ahead will test that progress. Tougher opponents, tighter matches and increased expectations will demand consistency at a higher level. The title race is far from decided, and every drop point will be scrutinized. But for the first time in a while, Rangers look like a side that understands how to navigate those challenges, not by chasing perfection, but by steadily raising standards and refusing to settle for what they have already achieved. That growing confidence is also reflected in the way Rangers now approach matches from the first whistle. There is less hesitation, less feeling out of the opposition, and more intent to dictate proceedings early. The press is more coordinated. The spacing between the lines is tighter, and possession is being used with a clearer purpose. Even when the tempo drops, it feels controlled rather than accidental, as if the team understands when to accelerate and when to slow things down to manage the game. Another important aspect is the mentality shift inside the squad. Players look more accountable to one another, celebrating defensive actions with the same intensity as goals. Small details like tracking runners, winning second balls, and maintaining concentration late in matches are no longer sporadic. They are becoming habits. That does not happen overnight, and it usually reflects consistent messaging on the training ground combined with trust in the process during match days. As this phase of the season unfolds, the focus will remain on maintaining that balance between progress and hunger. Winning games is essential, but so is recognizing where margins can still be improved. Rangers are building something that feels more resilient, more adaptable, and more aligned with the demands of Scottish football, and each performance adds another layer to that identity, shaping a side that believes it belongs right in the heart of the title fight. Before we continue, make sure to subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications to get all the exclusive news about Rangers FC. Don't overlook any details about your beloved team. It's crucial for Rangers FC fans. Rangers' dressing room is reportedly in turmoil, with whispers spreading through Glasgow that manager Danny RÖHL has lost patience with some of his players. According to sources close to the club, RÖHL allegedly described certain individuals as two cancers of the locker room and hinted at a sweeping change in personnel, stating that he intends to eliminate both. While the specifics of who these players might be remain unclear, the comments have already sent shockwaves through the Scottish Premiership, with fans and pundits alike speculating over the potential fallout. Inside the club, tensions are said to be simmering, with some players reportedly unsettled by RÖHL's forthright approach. Analysts suggest that such a statement, if accurate, could indicate a hardline stance by the manager, who seems determined to assert control and stamp out perceived negativity. A statement like that doesn't come lightly, says one commentator speaking under the condition of anonymity. It suggests deep-seated issues within the squad, and the manager is signaling that he's ready to take decisive action. RÖHL, who has been lauded for his tactical nous since arriving at Ibrox, now faces the challenge of balancing discipline with harmony. Club insiders suggest that while he has a clear vision for the team, the path to implementing it may be fraught with personality clashes and unrest. Fans on social media have reacted with a mixture of alarm and curiosity, debating which members of the squad might be on the chopping block and whether the remarks are a strategic message or a genuine expression of frustration. The broader football community is watching closely, with rival clubs likely to sense opportunity amid internal discord at Rangers. Speculation is rife that any forthcoming departures could reshape the team's dynamics, particularly if the players in question hold influence over the locker room. Meanwhile, questions linger over how RÖHL will manage the aftermath, maintain squad morale, and ensure that the team remains competitive in domestic and European competitions. At present, the club has declined to comment officially on the matter, leaving supporters to piece together the story from fragments and insider reports. Whatever the truth, the incident highlights the delicate balance of leadership in modern football, where a manager must navigate egos, ambition, and team cohesion with as much care as tactical strategy. RÖHL's alleged remarks, whether hyperbole or reality, have certainly lit a fuse under the Ibrox hierarchy, and the coming weeks could see dramatic developments behind closed doors. Greetings, fans! Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel, as it's greatly appreciated by Rangers FC. And don't forget to share your thoughts on the news in the comments section below. Until the next video, stay tuned